Michigan, Beth Shafer. Hi, Beth.
All the new names we've got.
Yeah, and you've got St. Patty's Green on. That's
I
great.
know. Well, my grandmother was born in Ireland.
Oh, no kidding.
So I have to represent.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't like corned beef and cabbage. But anyway, I think that's an American thing as opposed to an Irish thing.
You know, I think you're right.
I don't know, though.
And I think like Irish stew is something I would have when I was a kid, but it never had lamb in it. But in Ireland, I think lamb is.
Yeah.
I should say I shouldn't make a face about lamb because I don't think I've ever had it.
Yeah,
Oh well.
I'm not a fan, but I don't know why I'm not a fan.
Here's why. I don't like it because it has to be served with this green
the mint jelly.
Mint jelly. And if meat tastes such that you have to put green jelly on it, I don't think I want it.
Well, but you put cranberry with your turkey, don't you?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Same deal, Bart.
All right.
Same deal.
You just have so much common sense.
Thanks for inviting me back.
Always great to have you.
Yeah.
We've got slow time. It's United Way slow time.
Well, we used to think that. It used to be that this would be a lull and we'd all go to conferences and leave our desks. But now we're doing year-round campaigning. So I've actually got some campaigns that will run in the spring or starting to kick into gear now and some that are going to run a little later. So we do year-round campaigning. And I think we used to have our time when campaign would happen, in the fall. That was our time. Well, companies don't always want to do it on our timetable, so we're learning that we'll just do it whenever our wonderful supporters want to run, and we support them during that time frame. So yeah, no rest for the wicked, Bart. What can I say?
With the merger with the other two United Ways, does that change how the annual campaign or anything you do is done?
So it's given us a lot of new opportunities. I think we didn't really have the capacity for bringing in a lot of other revenue streams, but now we do. So we're leveraging federal grants and trying to seek out those other revenue streams that we can help people in Jackson County with and find more. The annual campaign is very important, don't get me wrong, but we also know that these other revenue streams and grant funding is also of equal importance and available to us, so we can bring those funds in to help people in Jackson become more financially stable as well. So,
Beth, many years ago, the United Way, when they did the campaign, it was, like you said, a very limited time, the campaign, but then like all the giving was like, you handed out checks, I think once a year. The campaign ended, you decided who got what, and then that was it. But with annual
with the payroll
giving
deduction
going all year round, people giving all year round, are you able then to give grants all year round?
Well, our funding cycle is kind of morphed into a multi-year funding cycle. So the funding is handled a little differently, but the resource development side of it and the way we raise money is still the same. And the old model was more with the workplace campaign being the big push. So having people give through payroll deduction, through their paycheck, so that they might not sit down and write a check to United Way for $300, but they might give us a total of $300 incrementally through the magic of payroll deduction, as Cheryl Norrie used to always say. Oh, I miss her. Anyway, we're thankful that a lot of companies, Consumers Energy, Mackey, and many others, that's in their DNA to run United Way that way. And most people do give incrementally through their paycheck, and that's the easiest way because there's a lot of ways to give now, Bart.
Well, with the United Way being part of the South Central Michigan now, are you going over there to Kalamazoo or Lansing?
I don't,
No?
but I have friends in all the places now. So no, we have a team, but the money raised in Jackson is staying in Jackson. But we're able to leverage so much more power as a team, and the merged organization is that much stronger. Not only are we able to leverage different, like the grant funding and the ways to go after different revenue streams, but also I have a team that's giving me synergy, and we can share ideas. And we get together to be a team. But my value to this organization is the relationships and the
In Jackson.
in Jackson. Yes, like you, Bart.
Right. Now there's so many other ways to give. You know, if somebody has an emergency, you know, GoFundMe. There's a lot of.
Well, yeah, and the GoFundMe thing.
You should start a GoFundMe.
A lot of people, yeah, and the GoFundMe is, there's a lot of ways that people can give, and the GoFundMe is an immediate emergency. A family, say, that can't afford medical bills, and they need help immediately. But what we are trying to do is help that family so that they are not in that situation in the first place. And so that's a value proposition that's a little more difficult to understand, that we're working to bring programs and supports to families so that they can become more financially stable and be able to sustain through the perils of life, you know, and the things that get a better job so that they can get better insurance and better help in times of need. So, but that's a tougher, it's a deeper meaning and a harder message to get across.
I heard a great story about how United Way is helping people
You
right
did
here
tell
in
me.
Jackson.
We love stories.
Well, John Stadelman, who's the national sales manager at Industrial Steel Treating,
oh yes,
he said they work with JobStar, which is the
Yes.
United Way program, and so they've got, you know, there was a situation, someone wasn't coming to work, and it was very important. We need you at work. Why aren't? And it turns out the person, they didn't have a car, so you know what they do? They give them a car,
Yeah.
and then problem solved.
Success coaches and the JobStar program, different companies buy a portion of JobStar, and then they also buy into helping us run JobStar by being on the board to help run JobStar. But yes, what happens is a success coach from NDHHS, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, is on staff at Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, but also works for us, for JobStar, as a success coach, and goes into that company. And they have access to all kinds of programs that you and I would know nothing about, but that's exactly how that situation, and to help an employers want to have the JobStar help, because that's a business resource network that's helping them keep their people, have that employee retention.
Yeah.
Because if that person isn't coming to work, well, what's behind that, and how do we help? How do we find that? So JobStar's meeting that exact. I love that story, Bart.
And it's not just one person. I mean, there's a bunch of people that, you know,
Yeah.
that they were able to keep their job and continue their income for their family because one little problem got solved.
And sometimes it is just one thing, and HR is so busy with other things. And Doug Scott at IST is one of our big supporters. He's served on our board, and he and his industrial steel management team were right there at the beginning of JobStar, and so they're big proponents. So yeah, it's there's so many ways that we can bring the help that people need. And so one of the things that we need is also other people to support us in that way.
So since the campaign is year-round, and there's some happening right now, some workplace, we stopped doing the thermometer and the totals and goals. We don't really do that anymore, do we?
Well, and really the need is going to always be there. And so the thermometer would show, but the need would still exist. And so really our main message is that there is always going to be a need, and we're always going to be trying to help the people that are struggling. We hope we hope someday we can get ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
That would
It keeps getting better. I keep seeing improvements. In the 10 years that I've been at United Way, I've really seen so many amazing developments of things that have happened that are really helping people move forward. But if you're interested in the stories and the messages and things like what you said, Bart, that story, all those messages of impact are on our website, and you can click on the local part, but you can go to unitedforuscmi.org. I'm an
It's
old
hard to
dog
remember.
can learn
Yeah.
new tricks, Bart. But anyway, so and then you can click on the Jackson and find out all the information about the Jackson. But we also have a scorecard that talks about that impact. And coming this summer is going to be we're going to amalgamate all the regional impact and be able to have that available for people to see what we're able to do collectively. I'm excited to see that.
Well, I'll be excited too.
Yeah, I'll bring one for you.
Okay.
Or send it to you in a link.
Yeah, do that. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me. But people can still donate if they go on that website and hit the donate now button and answer the phone when I call and say, hey, you want to do a campaign still?
There you go. United for SCMI.org.
Correct. And there's a Jackson link in there. So
Perfect.
we have not been absorbed into a larger whole and lost.
Good.
We're in a larger group that's just motivating and improving in every way. I'm very excited.
Keep up the great work. And
Thank you, Bart.
thank you, Beth.
Appreciate it.
Beth Shafer is Associate Director of Annual Giving at United Way of South Central Michigan.